just to learn the basics of how to load data from another server. It's a really common thing that almost every app is going to do, and we definitely are going to have to do it for our meal tracking, meal data app. So we don't have the backend set up yet for the way the code figured out to how to interface to that website. The standard way that we would typically do this is to fetch data from a web API where we have a very structured data that comes back as JSON, and then we can easily parse JSON. So that's what I'm going to show you as an example. So let's, well, for now, let's say in our app folder, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it, I'm just going to call it data.json. And in this data.json, let's create an object that has the data shaped like we'd like it to be shaped, okay, with well-named fields. If we're in JSON, we have to put our names and our values in quotes. So what are the bits of data that we care about for this app, this meal tracking app? We have like dining dollars. I'm imagining maybe we have dining dollars, and for each one of these we have dining dollars remaining. So and we have total. Would you call it total? So this would have been how many you had to start off with. Is 150 the standard? What was it, 175? What are the actual plans? What are the general options? 2 something, but 175 is one of them. Okay, so do you see the structure that I'm having here? I've got a dining dollars object that has 2 things in it, and I'm thinking that we're going to have several things that look like this. So here, what's another thing we have? Meals. Is that the way to say it? Meals, meal swipes, just meals. I'm going to paste this in. So now we have a certain number of meals. I have 6 remaining out of a total of, what is it? The general numbers are 14? Oh, 14 or 10? Okay. So these are reasonable numbers. You can make up whatever numbers you want to. Imagine this is data that we are going to eventually extract from our back end, but for now I want to make it really, really simple and put this data here. We also have, what's it called? Like LP? Are they called? You call it Line Sprite? Is it Line Sprite Express? Which is grab and go to Robert? It always has Express though? Is that a thing? Would we say that's probably the official name? So this would generally be what? You can have up to 5, and is that right? Oop. I'm writing 2 different ways. That bothers me. Okay, I've reformatted so that it looks more reasonable. And we have the chick fillet. Oh, we need a comma there. Oops. And this would be some number out of 2. Is that right? I mean, you put in whatever numbers you want to, but I'm trying to put kind of reasonable numbers. And then we learned there's one more, which was guest, right? So this would be like guest. Is it guest meals? Guest swipes? Is it just guest? Seems like we should have meals. And what is it? This is five. Mm-hmm. So if I'm thinking about this too, another thing that is probably important, I almost might be inclined to put a period on each of these, as in, is this per week, per semester, per some other period? Those are the only two that we have, right? So like dining dollars are per semester. I don't know, what would you call that? Period, duration, frequency, renewal. Is period a weird one? To me, that period sounds like in math, or when we're talking about the wave, the period of a wave is how long until it repeats. But if that's not a good word, what would you call it? Renewal period? Just renewal. So in this case, you'd say renewal is semester. So this is like by semester, per semester. Is that? So meals would be by week, right? Lions Pride Express is by week. Am I right here? You see what I'm saying here? Oops, I need that. Oops. That's by week. Guest meals, though, is by semester. So I am essentially saying there's only like 2 legal values for renewal. I am using magic strings here, so we'd have to know, right? This is by semester, by week. So this is the core information that we need. Isn't this the core information that we need? Yeah, we're subtracting transactions. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I've created this JSON correctly. All right. So now let's see if I think this actually works. I think this works. I think we can still load this even if it's local to our app. It's kind of overkill because it's right there. We could just include it. But if you were going to read a file that changes, then I think you would have to do it this way. So let's see if we can't just do it this way. The other thing I'm going to do is put this file online, like on Netlify, anywhere online, and then we can actually read it from there. Okay, so I'm going to go into the dashboard page, which is currently, yeah, like that. Here is the setup for how we fetch data from online. And the keyword here is fetch. So, I'm going to show it to you. In one way, and then we're going to improve it. All right, so this is not quite right. Okay, so we are going to call a function. Let me do it this way. We're going to call a function called fetch. And fetch essentially takes in a URL. That function, fetch, goes out to some server specified by the URL, loads a resource defined by the URL. We're expecting it to load a JSON file, to go request a JSON file, and then have the server return it to us. That thing is going to return, actually, how long is it going to take to do this? And the answer is, we don't know. It depends. It depends about your network conditions, how far away the server is. It's completely outside our control. So one of the key essential features of JavaScript is it supports this asynchronicity through something called async and await. So it is possible to define a function that does some work and then at some point in the future returns its data. And instead of our app hanging, just waiting there, when we use async and await, the control gets returned back to our app while that thing is kind of processing in the background, which is what you want, because if you press fetch the data and then your app locks up because it's waiting for something that hasn't, like this line of code, hasn't finished yet, that's terrible UI. So the way this works in JavaScript is you could put the word await before the fetch function. Also, let's put in a real URL here. And actually, you could put in something like https:// API dot FHU meal tracker dot FHU.edu. Slash data.json. So if our data.json was stored on that server, then this would fetch it. We're going to want to save the response of this into a response object. So we're going to say const response is equal to awaiting this. So that's like more like the full picture. So this is, we call fetch. Fetch needs to be awaited because technically the thing that fetch returns is a promise. It's a promise to get the data back eventually or to fail. There could be an error if we type something in wrong. The code that comes after this, so any code here, doesn't get executed until after the promise is resolved, which is what you want. So after a response actually comes back, then we can process that response. So let's be really optimistic here and not even deal with errors. So we're going to now say const data is equal to, what we get back is this object that has text in it. We don't want just plain old text. We need to kind of hydrate and bring to life this text and make it a JSON object. And the way to do this in JavaScript is to say await, get our response, and then call the .json property on it. So the .json method. So when you call .json, it's going to read through the text. You see this? This is just plain old text. We understand that it represents a JavaScript object, but the way that this fetch API works, it just brings back data. We've got to process that data to figure out, okay, there's an object that has a sub-object, and that sub-object has these three fields in it, and we create a JavaScript object based on that. Does that make sense? So you'll always see this pattern together. So we do the fetch to get the response, and then we JSONify the results from the string that we have. Once we've done this, now we can use this data. As a JavaScript object. So in our case now, we could extract out and say something like some state is equal to data dot meals dot remaining. You see how I'm extracting out the thing that I want. By putting it in state, I'm assuming here, if we want to show this value, then it's somewhere down here, right? Like in this, like I've got all this, oh wait, I just made these little variables not even state. It should probably be state because it's going to change when we load it in. Does that make sense? So that's the way we're kind of updating the UI based on the data that we got back. So let's create here some state const meals remaining and set meals remaining is equal to use state, and I want to put in the default value, which would be, I guess, 0. Why does this mad at me? Is use state not? Yeah. This is our use state. You remember this? So you could put in -1 here. Maybe that's even smarter to say, hey, if it's -1, then we haven't even loaded it yet. So we got kind of a flag. Probably 0 is okay, and you should probably have some other state that's like has loaded or is loading, so that you can sort of show it as it's loading. Now, on the whole, when is it that I want to update the meals remaining? It's when this app loads, probably, or when this component mounts. We just learned something in a different class that allows us to run something when a component mounts. What was that thing called? Use effect. Yes, indeed. I like to put the importing the stuff from React and React Native up front, and then the top, and then the project-specific stuff underneath. So the place where we should be doing this fetch is not every time the dashboard screen function is run. That's kind of overdoing it. We really want to do it use effect when the app loads. If we had like a refresh control where you pulled a refresh, then we would also want to be able to link in at that point. So I'm going to say, can I do this? Can I write a function, get data? That's really poorly named. That's equal to an arrow function. Oh, I missed the arrow. And it's within this function that I want to do that. Okay. Because there's a Visual Studio is smart. This is what I had. If there is an await call, an await expression is only allowed within a function that's marked as async. So it already fixed it for me. So I need to say that this function, this arrow function that's nameless, is an async function. This wasn't apparent before because the dashboard screen was apparently marked async, or it added that for me. I don't know. Was yours marked async? Okay, mine just did it. Okay. What I'm wondering is, so I don't have the data there. I have it in my app. So I'm hoping that's it. So then right down here, did I type this here? Yes. I would want to say, I'm going to call set meals remaining of the thing that I just extracted. Yeah? Okay, I've written this function here like this just as a standalone async function so that I could call this function from useEffect. But I think I also may want to call it if you were to pull a refresh. So I thought it might be helpful to go ahead and extract it as a function instead of writing all this code in useEffect. If you knew you only were going to do this on load, then you could just do it there. Okay, so I haven't done my useEffect yet. So am I going to be able to write useEffect off the top of my head? Seems unlikely, but let's try it. So I want to say useEffect. I think useEffect takes 2 parameters. Let me go ahead and add it here, quick fix, import from React. I think useEffect takes in the effect, which is basically a function, and an array of dependencies. You remember that? So my arrow function here needs to call get data. Seems like surely that can't work. I think What did I do wrong? Now I thought, say like get data is an async function, and it seems like you shouldn't be able to call an async function from a non-async function. We'll see if this breaks. All right, second parameter. What's the second parameter? Remember to do it just once when it loads, when the component mounts. Empty bracket. I suspect this is not how a professional React person would write this. I did do Command-Shift-P and formatted my code because it was looking kind of messy. The thing I'm not sure of is, will it fetch from the current folder with data.json? And because I'm so unsure of that, let me just go ahead and ask ChatGPT, how can I fetch from a local JSON file in React Native using fetch? Okay, I know that. Okay, so you can't read a local file like that. So is this public? It is, right? It's the easiest way for me to put something online. So this is just a hack. Like, I want to put this in the root of my project, just so that I can push this to GitHub. So I'm just trying to get that file on the internet. And I think that now that it's on GitHub, is this publicly available? Copy path, what does that look like? No. I want to see the raw. Okay, you seeing that? That is the real, that raw.githubusercontent.com/FAQ. That is a full URL on the internet. Here, check it out. Confirm, that's not us. Can y'all browse to that data.json file? Apparently fetch is only going to work if it's actually on the real internet, not in your local app, because it's not serving it like a web server. Okay, so that did work? Okay, so now I'm going to take that URL, which I get is gross, but I just sent it to you. It's raw.github/FAQ/FAQ/ref/heads/main/data.json. This is not the standard way of putting a JSON file on the internet. We're just doing this just for today, for this purpose. Okay, so now the question is, hang on, I got to have a console.log here to see what this looks like. I don't trust myself to have extracted it correctly. I would like to see what that data looks like. This is only going to work if there is a meals object within this object. But notice I'm returning one object. There is a meals object, and it has a remaining object within it. Okay? I give us 50-50. Now, a 60-40 chance this works. Okay? This is not running, is it? I don't have an app. I'm killing it. Does this work on yours? Is it anybody? You're not that bold to run it before me? It's fair. So excited right now. This could fail spectacularly, or it could show the number 5 somewhere. Oh wait, I don't even show meals remaining anywhere. So it can't show up except on my console. You guys, do you see this? Do you see this data? That's it. We loaded that from the internet. That should mean if I come down here and anywhere on here, here, let's make a new guy. Hang on, while I make it a progress bar, just make it simple here. Text. State. This would be, what was it, meals remaining? Wait, is 6 right? 6 is right. Do you see that 6? That 6 came from the internet. So we just did fetch. You feeling this? This is it. Like, we're basically done now. So what I'm saying you can do is, for now, while we're working on extracting this data from the real website, you can fake it. This would be called like a mock or a stub. Make your own. You can host it on GitHub. You can host it on Netlify, some public website. Put that URL in here. Now, this would probably be better if you were to come in here and say const API URL is equal to this. Actually, let's call it the base URL. I could imagine what you should do, is you could have 2 different endpoints, one for the meal data and one for the transaction data, and then you could fetch both of them separately. So if I were going to do it that way, see, that's my base URL. This. So here I want to fetch the base URL plus data.json. But I could later get transactions.json, maybe from that same spot, but 2 different calls. But they're going to probably have the same base URL. It's just a different extension on the end. So you with me? So now you can actually simulate the fetching of that data and showing it in your app. What I called what? This? I mean, you can just go to that URL and you can copy paste it if you want. So we're just faking out here a back-end API. In real life, this data wouldn't just always be the same. It would be extracted from the database and then put in this JSON format, because JSON is the format that JavaScript most prefers. But also it's become just like the preferred format of the web. Even non-JavaScript backends would produce JSON, like Python backends or .NET. Okay. So in the last 5 minutes, let me set up what these are for. I would like you to draw, before you code, whatever UI needs to be present to allow the user to input their username and password that I think should just be saved in the app, like just stored in the app, so that they don't have to enter that every time for the connecting to that external website. You with me? So that may necessitate or encourage you to have a whole profile page. I do think the user should be in control, and if they want to like log out and remove their information, they should be able to do that, don't you think? No. So you log in. You can delete the app if you want to log out. So I think they should be able to like log in and log out. But in this case, the logging in is us saving the username and password for that FHU card swipe site that you create. I don't know, like stretch goal, allow them to enter their first name so that the app can be friendlier toward them. Super stretch goal, allow them to input a picture of themselves and have like an actual profile. I don't know, like whatever is some MVP of a profile page with the ability to log in and log out. And I think I would put the log out on the profile page. Thoughts on that? Do you see other functionality that would be important to include on a profile page for this app? No? Ooh, that would be cool. And we could extract that, right? The name meal plan A, meal plan B is on the thing. So yeah, that would be really cool to show that. And I do think, so like really, that could probably be in here, right? Like meal plan. I don't know, was that officially what it's called? Does it have more information about it? It probably would have. It really would show this and this, right? So you could then, maybe that should all be in a meal plan object. Is that better? You with me? So this would be like name would be meal plan A, and then it would have like total meals. This all is defined together, isn't it? Was it like that? When you get meal plan A, you get a number of meals. It also would define the total number of everything. But at our university, is it always 5 LPEs and 2 CFAs regardless of the meal plan? But that could be changeable, so it might make sense to put it up there. I need a comma here. Does that make sense how maybe that actually does go together, and instead of putting it with each of these, you could put up there. I guess are these defined per meal plan? Or no, I don't know. I think that's defined here. Okay, so I would like for you to draw some stuff out. Let's bring that to class on Friday so we can see some good ideas for what a profile page for this app should look like. I expect this to be not the lowest fidelity. If it looks junky, then I'm going to give you a junky grade. I would like you to like actually think about it so that then you can take a good design and implement it in your app. So I feel like this is the one major addition to the UI that we need to make besides just bringing in the data. All right? I guess I'm thinking both. So maybe we need a login page and a profile page, but kind of the logging in ends up setting up the profile page. Let me know if you have thoughts and questions. Use as much paper as you want. Make some good designs. I'll grade it. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.